Turn this TV off. So I just finally took the jump, the giant leap, and I created an LLC. So I'm going to be naming it after my other Facebook page because that journey is what led me here. So it's going to be called Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse. All the hell, all the trials and tribulations and absolute living nightmare that I've been through with my ex-husband has led me to all of this. The videos that I'm able to do to stand up and speak out about things that are not right or that we're supposed to keep silent. That's why I named it that. But I'm going to do a DBA for the RT Says What, so I can kind of keep the two separate, because what my goal is with the Combat Veteran Spouse page is to create a nonprofit, and we're working on researching exactly what one. Hey guys, I'm really excited, man. I just took the jump. So I did create the LLC. I'm really excited, but I also created a website with that, and it's called journeyofacombatveteranspouse.com. I have to get it all set up, so give me a minute on that one. But it's going to focus on PTSD awareness, because no matter if it's healthcare related, childhood trauma related, all of that, it's going to be focusing on health matters. And then when it comes to the respiratory stuff, I'm going to do a separate business license for the RT Says What page. So I'm really freaking excited. The best thing about all of this is my ex-husband and I were discussing creating an LLC because during his retirement years, he wanted to create a small business to support himself. And he never met those goals. He had a lot of goals that he wanted to reach just a few months outside of being discharged from therapy, and he has met none of them. However, ex-wifey over here has taken this and just went forward with it. I'm not going to allow his... I actually had 9 hours of sleep, Terry. I did. I got sleep. When I woke up, it was like 7 o'clock. I couldn't believe it. It was freaking great. But I have to work day shifts, so I am going to try to go to bed. I usually, when I go to bed, I wake up at 3 a.m. and then I'm suffering at work at 3 p.m. So I'm trying to kind of stay up later to try and get through this. So throughout that entire journey with him, that's when I began to finally speak up for what's right, speak up when something's wrong, and not let other people hold me down and mute my voice. And the strength that I've given. Hi guys, hi Stacy, Christine, everybody. So I'm achieving the goals that we had set for ourselves. I'm the one traveling. He wanted to travel with me after his kids graduated, and he's doing nothing. He's making up shit and trying to make me look bad continuously, and all it's doing in the long run is showing how weak of a person he actually is, that he has to do that to his wives. So I'm doing it. I'm doing the damn thing. I don't need him to do anything for me. What he did to me was enough. And that was enough to give me the motivation to, there's no catching up on sleep, not in healthcare, especially when you're flopping days and night shifts. But what he has given me is the strength that I needed to be motivated to do all this. So I just came on, Adriana. What I did was I just created the paperwork for the LLC, created the website. I got to get into all that. It should be legal and filed by May 15th, so everything should be in. But it will be Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse, because that is what brought me here today. I do promote a lot of PTSD awareness. The veterans and their families are very important to me, and that's what led me here. The RT Says What is kind of a byproduct, and I have some business ideas for that as well, because as a respiratory therapist, we are self-led. We do not have to work under somebody. We are able to create businesses on our own. Our medical license, and our credentials allow us to do that. So maybe in the future, working with a group of respiratory therapists, like I was talking to Respiratory Raf, and that's the Instagram page that I shared on the RT Says What page the other day. That's what he wants to go into. But if you can get a group of RTs and other people who can get into consultant work like that and work together, it makes you more powerful. And that's kind of what I would like to do with the respiratory education, where all this came from with my rant. So I would like to keep them like separate. So I do have the PTSD awareness. I will be selling merchandise. We are working on the programs and creating all these logos and all that stuff. So I'm going to be doing both. I'm going to create the DBA. For now, I'll work under both. I'll work both businesses under that LLC, but eventually I'll move to two separate ones. So my perps, oh, they're all, I have bedhead. I'm not pulling the perps out. So that's what's going on. I'm really excited. I just finally took the leap and created it. I've been going back and forth as to what to call the LLC, but I think the journey of the combat veteran spouse is really important because that is what got me here. That is the experience that brought me here. That is the experience that brought me the courage to speak up. I have helped other people on my page get out of toxic situations. I do want to create a nonprofit related to that, whereas the profits that I make from that in my crafts go to the nonprofit to help families of trauma. And because there's just not a lot of resources for them. Oh, I'm glad to have you on both pages. The other page is called Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse on Facebook. There is going to be a website with that name. Right now I have it on Wix, and I just got a notification that somebody tried to book. It might have been an accident, but I am going to make a blog post down there that I will be directing all traffic to the new page. I'm going to change the blogs over that I have on there to the actual website domain name because I did pay for the actual domain. Whereas with the Wix site, you have Wix attached to it, and there's a bunch of other garbage. So I just want Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse, and I'm going to upload all that, and that is going to be directed towards mental health awareness and PTSD. And it's not just for combat veteran spouses and all that. It is for, oh, yes, Sherry, yes. I am not a website capable person. I am ignorant. And that's the problem when it comes to getting all this on there. Yes, I do. Yes. Yes. Message me, please. Yep, Emily, oh my gosh. What part of Texas are you in? Because I'd love to meet up when I get back. Because what I would like to do is eventually write a book. And I would like to write a book about other people's experiences, not just mine. This is not about me. None of this is about me, and none of this is to profit me. I want to help others because what happens with these situations with the soldiers, for instance, when they get back, a lot of them get kicked out of the military for drugs, alcohol, and they're not entitled to like TRICARE when that happens. So their families don't have help, and they don't have the resources or health insurance to even get counseling, and the VA only helps the veteran. Yes, Lotus Laundry, Tamara. Lotus Laundry. Hang on, I'm going to go get their card, and I'll show it to you. These people were not discriminating against my healthcare laundry, but Lotus Laundry, I know it's backwards, but they have an app. You can download the app. But they have other locations. They're not just here in Newark. So get on the app. Let's see if there's a website. I think it might just be lotuslaundry.com. But check them out. See if they're in your area because they were freaking awesome. They came right to the hotel. All they did was ask me if I worked in a nursing home or a healthcare environment, and I said yes, and that way they can handle it appropriately. They did not discriminate. I tipped them greatly because they were awesome. My laundry smelled great. It was a great experience, and they had it done the same day and wanted to drop it off, but I had to work, so they had to come back the next day. So yes, send your laundry out. I absolutely recommend it. Yes, the VA is completely awful. So that's where all of this started, was on my combat veteran spouse page. That's been going on since October. That crazy freaking donkey lady and her sister harassing me, harassing the new woman friend that I made, prior to my husband and I. That's how I found all this out, and really nailed her coffin shut with the evidence against her. So I am pursuing everything against that lady, because she should never. Her and her sister are nasty. And you can go to my combat veteran spouse page, and also on the website that I have linked there, and read the whole damn blog story. And she tried to contact one of my friends again and telling her to quit harassing her. And my friend's like, these people just want attention, and they're going to get it, but from the wrong people. Please don't go harass them. Just read the story. I don't want any problems in court. I don't want to look like I am on here encouraging them to be harassed, because that's the shit that they want. So don't do it. Don't try to back me up on that. I have everything I need. I just have to get back to El Paso, and things need to get back to normal so I can meet with my lawyer. Yes, I had amazing Mother's Day. I slept. I had some steak and lobster. Bought myself a nice dinner that I needed for my birthday too. But what's ironic is the LLC will be registered on my god sister's birthday, who is helping me out with a lot of the creation for logos and ideas. And she's been my inspiration from childhood for voicing my opinion and my eloquent choice of words. But I can also write very well. I can write compassionately, and I've had a lot of compliments on that from various people. So she's always been my inspiration for that, Sandy. No, I'm talking about when, Christy, the message that you sent me last week or the week before from Lynette, telling you to quit harassing her. But no, so all of that has culminated into this. I created the LLC. I will be doing a business. I will be able to work at many craft shows and vendor shows, because some of them are restricted to businesses only. So I'll be putting all those profits into a nonprofit. I mean, I'll be taking my costs out for, whatever I create, and then putting all the profits back into an account for a nonprofit, which I have to create. I have to research that part, because it does get kind of complex. I will eventually have to consult an attorney on this if it gets big enough, so he can help manage all of this. But big things will happen. Positive things will happen from all of the trauma that I have been through. And I cannot wait to come up with all the, hoodies and hats and mugs. And I have my vases on the Combat Veteran Spouse page, but I can put all that online on the website, and then it'll have one place to go. And then I'll probably eventually create an RT Says What website. And I want to run the two separately, but still have the same motivation in the background to promote awareness for everything and educate. That's my big thing, is education. But the two topics are kind of completely, they can combine in some ways, like with the mental health awareness for the healthcare workers, and also with childhood trauma, veteran experience, the families. So I'm really freaking excited. I can't wait to start going on this project. I finally just took the leap and did it. I've been putting it off. So I have the heat press ordered. I have the printer ordered to do my stuff that I need to do that I've been limited on. I do need to learn how to use the saws that my dad bought me, because I haven't been home to do that or have the time. So hopefully I'll be able to take some time off a little bit after this. Can you get PTSD from the mess? A lot. Yeah, actually, there are some mental health issues. This is traumatic. Trauma is trauma. Everybody experiences trauma differently. The mind processes it differently. It's going to take some time after this pandemic settles down. PTSD tends to form after the first 30 days of trauma experience. Your brain usually relives everything, but trauma is different for each person. Some people experience it completely different. There's combat trauma. There is trauma from the death that we are seeing. Childhood trauma of abuse, that's a big one. That's the number one cause of PTSD. Unresolved trauma from childhood abuse that carries over into adulthood and affects relationships, and understanding where it even comes from. There's nothing freaking wrong with you. I hate when people are like, what's wrong with you? And I used to say that to my husband because I didn't understand PTSD. I do now. Oh my God, do I ever. Part of the journey of getting here. So it'll be registered in Texas because that's where I'm going to live. No matter where I travel, I'm going to be calling Texas home because it's warm and the people are awesome. And I travel, so it doesn't really matter where I'm at. I would eventually, I'll have my wares with me. I could do craft shows and set up anywhere. And yes, any kind of abuse, any kind of exposure to a traumatic event, witnessing a bad, car wreck where somebody died, there are plenty. I don't know how our first responders come up on these wrecks where people are decapitated, kids, not in car seats. That is all trauma. I mean, that's not, normal in any way, shape, or form, but the reaction, the PTSD is a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. So nothing that you experience with PTSD, there's nothing freaking wrong with you. It's all in what you do with how you handle it. Self-medicating is a bad thing to do, and a lot of people do it because there's a stigma with mental health, and I'm going to talk about that on the video podcast that I'm scheduled to do this week. There is a huge stigma. And in the medical field, you're afraid that it's going to count against you on your license. Soldiers, as soon as they bring up any symptoms, they get processed out. They're not going to deal with it. They're going to lose their livelihood and everything that they've trained for. And then they get put out into the real world like my husband, and he just completely loses what's left of his mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. I honestly don't even care anymore. I still care about his daughter very much. She's a lot like me and how she's processed his trauma and how I handled it as a kid. And my mother really wouldn't allow us to get therapy because people weren't allowed to know what our business was. That was her thing. It's none of their business. That's like a running joke in the family because that's like all she ever said. So I had to not deal with it, and I had to, hide it. So I've had a life of trauma. My dad was ripped out of my life, and he was the person I looked up to. I'm a daddy's girl. So all of that. And then I get out of that and I meet my husband online when I'm 18, and we formed a 20-year friendship, and I move out there, get married, and then I go through absolute hell. So that's what's all brought to this point. So like I said, it's going to be called Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse for right now. I'm going to separate the respiratory stuff, but when I get the website up and running and IT help, yes, I need it. Anybody who's got help setting up a freaking web page or anything like that, I could use a website administrator. Oh yeah. Volunteer at first would be great. I'll be having an EIN. So once things start forming a profit, I can pay somebody for their time. It's just getting it up and running right now. It's, when you start up, it's always hard. So there will be merchandise. I will have the online store set up because the Facebook store sucks. All of it sucks. And it's just finding the right setup. So everything that I've experienced, there is a silver lining. We all suffer. We are all looking for answers. We're all, we've all been through some shit. And it's what you do with it that matters. So I'm going to do something positive. I will finish my husband's goals, whether he's with me or not. I still love him very much. I always will. He's an honorable human being. Many, many, many accolades in the military. He's a retired command sergeant major, taught for 10 years at the U.S. Sergeant Major Academy on Fort Bliss. Phenomenal human being and phenomenal educator, and it's very sad that he's wasting his talents. And I was talking to a friend tonight, and the movie A Bronx Tale, when he's talking to his son, and he's like, the worst thing in life is wasted talent, and that's freaking true. There's so much talent in that man, and he is living in so much fear from his PTSD and what people are going to think of him that he just blows up his entire life. He self-sabotages everything, and it's like, it's so hard to wrap your mind around but he's also got frontal lobe injuries, so his reasoning and logic is just gone. He told our marriage counselor the day before he lost his freaking mind that he wasn't making good decisions and he couldn't tell fact from fiction. Hey, Damien. Sandy, hi, honey. I just started the LLC. I filed the paperwork. It'll be final on your birthday. Happy birthday to both of us. But, yeah, through all that trauma, There will be. It's all in what you do with this shit, man. Do not let people bring you down. Do not use that negative and use it for motivation to do something better for others. I had a crappy shift change, but I tipped the hell out of my Uber driver. I tipped the hell out of the housekeeper just to pay all that negative forward. I no matter what, if I have a bad day at work, somebody else is going to have a positive day based on my negative experience, because that helps to boost those feelings, you know. They need that. And military life is not a joke. Yes, thank you for your service, and I know you guys get tired of hearing that. But, man, there's so much positive to do with this, and I can't freaking wait to see where it goes. I am so excited. So thank you for all the love and support, because you all and your support off that video and all the, I mean, I have over 300 messages. I want to do a little video of all the screenshots of positivity that I got, but I don't know how long my thumb can handle doing screenshots. But I do want to put something like that together, because honestly, the support that I got was the motivation that I needed to move forward, because I've been dragging my feet on this since October. So it's done. I typed it up, filed the paperwork. It's in process. So I am super duper excited, and I am just thankful for all the support, all the offers of help, no matter what it is. You know, N95s, nothing is too little. And I want to be able to create resources like that for people who've been through trauma, who do need the help, who do need the guidance and don't know where to turn. And it's really hard for people to just like email somebody and wait for a response. I would like to be able to have that open for people to ask real-time questions. There's a lot of stuff about trauma, but me working with other respiratory therapists, and it would be nice to get other people from different professions involved in something like that. When you create an LLC and you can work under your own license, you can do anything. And the great thing, I am constantly reading stories of respiratory therapists who have made their own way. They have created their own positions within hospitals. They have created their own companies doing exactly things like this. So it is entirely possible. This is America. Where there is a will, there is a way. So everybody crying that they don't have a job and everything's gone, there is a way. You just have to be willing to make some sacrifices and do things differently than we've always done. You have to be innovative. Innovation is what gets you out front of everybody and gets you outside of the basic bitches, I guess, who are doing things, you know, the same way everybody else is doing. Who wants the same stuff? They want somebody who's different. They want somebody who's got that creativity and motivation. That's who they're going to, that's why I have so many views. All these people hating on me. Where's my mask? I'm allowed to eat. I can take my mask off in the department where there's no patients and we're just with each other, and eat the food that's been provided to us in that conference room. When I walked in yesterday, they had a birthday party or something for somebody. There was balloons everywhere and a bright pink tablecloth. Why do I need to wear a mask in there when they're serving food? I mean, people's comments are so ignorant. It's like, shut up. Just STFU. I'll be nice in case there's kids listening, but it is late. But, you know, it's just ignorance like that. People don't know. You take a snapshot of something that, when you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. Don't ask a question. Why don't you have your mask on? Question mark. I'll answer that. I'm not going to put up with, put your mask on, bitch. Well, you're going to get a bitch attitude back, because the Detroit girl is going to come out at me and you're going to get it. But that's not the way I talk to my patients. I do get firm with them at times. Sometimes they need somebody to go, hey, no, you can't do that. This is why. And when you're firm with them, instead of putting up with their crap, they stop. They stop arguing and they listen. And then when they stop arguing, then you educate. You don't just keep, you know, hey, no, you change your tune. So quit making assumptions about how I treat my patients. I wouldn't have so many damn compliments from them if that's how I talk to people all the time. Let me go back through some comments here. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, guys. It was a great day. Actually, I created my business on Mother's Day, so that's awesome. Sounds like a rough day. No, it was actually a good day, Stephanie. I created my LLC, so I will be doing business with a business license and doing business taxes. I'm not looking forward to next year during tax season. I'll be definitely getting an accountant for that. Get some rest, Sandy. Yes, you do have to think outside the box. Thank you, Tony. I grew up in Metro Detroit. When I was born and raised, my area code was 313. I came from the 313. I moved out to Metro Detroit, then I moved up to Central Michigan, and then over to Western Michigan before I moved out to El Paso. So all over Michigan. I am a Michigan girl. However, my blood is now desert thin, and I do miss my El Paso heat. It's triple digits out there, and I'm like, oh my God. It did warm up a little bit better today. The freaking wind died down. The wind was the problem. Melissa, I am so excited. I can't wait to talk about this LLC. I did the Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse. So it's going to promote a lot of mental health awareness. So I am so excited about this. This is like, you guys have given me the motivation to move forward. I mean, this has been phenomenal response. And I am just like absolutely ecstatic over this. I am so looking forward to doing that video podcast. I am so tired of people trying to put politics in something where we don't need to put politics. It's just straight up a topic. You don't need a division. What you need is your own belief system. And you don't, I really wish they would just get rid of political parties. If they would just get rid of it and people would represent themselves and what they stand for, I really think life would be a little bit easier. Why do we have to pick a party? I don't want to be registered with anything. I just want to be able to go vote for who I want to vote for and not make it a huge political statement. I want to, it's about your value system and your beliefs. It's not about Trump supporters. It's not about Democrats and hate and, dear God, knock it off. We don't have, this is the problem in America. Our founding fathers worked on that Constitution and that Declaration of Independence together, bipartisan. They weren't sitting there arguing and screaming and calling each other names. Would they have gotten that done? No. Stop it. Stop it. Just stop. Don't get involved in it. Remove yourself from it. Don't play into it. So many great things can happen when you have a negative experience. Turn it into something positive. Do something more for other people. So I am just over the moon about this. I cannot wait to create the nonprofit. I'm going to keep that name quiet right now because I can just perceive my ex-husband doing something negative and stealing my idea and stealing my name. So once that is set in stone, I will tell the story about why I chose it and what I'm going to do with all of that. And it's a pretty badass story. College student at Western Michigan, currently Grand. Yes, I used to work at Mercy Health in Grand Rapids. I still have some respiratory therapist friends who work out in that area. Awesome people. Respiratory rock stars they are. I am always a Michigan girl at heart. I'm always promoting some, all of my, I noticed all of my sweatshirts have a city listed on them. I just buy the hoodies and whatever looks comfortable where I'm at and just rock it out. So, God, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for all the support. I am going to probably sit here and do screenshots of all of them. My Facebook Messenger, I can't even find messages anymore. Everybody I normally talk to is buried. There's so much support. And I've had like 4 negative messages. I mean, people troll on my video. And here's the thing about that. When people leave those troll messages and reactions, I mean, I go through and hide some of the BS comments, especially the pandemic crap, because I don't want to be associated with that. But what they do when they make those reactions is they promote my video more because Facebook has those algorithms that log those reactions. And no matter if it's negative or positive, they keep promoting it because it's getting reactions. So let them hate and watch it all pile up because that's how it works. That's how it actually works, not how they think it works. So you don't need to attack them. Their ignorance speaks for themselves. And when I do have a moment, I do go back and respond. They do get some of my Detroit tongue. But for the people who actually ask a logical question, and there's been a few people I've talked to, and we've had valid conversations on there. I've shown them the documentation, and we've had discussions about the medications that people think are these miracle drugs, and those were actual discussions. They weren't hate, which is great. I encourage discussion. Ask questions. I will be happy to provide you with the documentation that I use and that I have that is credible. If you choose to believe it's some government conspiracy, that is completely up to you. it's not all conspiracies. We don't always need to have a blame game or, just things happen. We all make mistakes. We all handle things inappropriately, own up to it, and move on. That's what just like that girl who sent me that nasty message and everybody attacked her and she apologized to me. We actually had a great conversation. She was afraid to even call me or apologize because she thought that I would be apprehensive and hateful towards her because of how it started. And that's not what happened. So don't ever assume anything. Try to just be kind. Kindness goes a long way with people. My great-grandmother always said, kill people with kindness. And sometimes I just can't deal with the ignorance, and I do go off. But overall, I do kill people with kindness. I will do nice things for somebody who is shat down my neck, and I will still do something for you to help you out. And I've done that. And I will continue to do that because that is the kind of person I am. If my ex-husband ever came to me and said, you know what, I am really sorry. What can I do to never do this again? What advice could you give me? I would be happy to just talk and not, ridicule him and call him names. And he's, I don't think, ever going to be the bigger man to do that and admit his mistakes, because that would be admitting that he caused all the ex-wives these problems. And I have to be okay enough to understand that I might never get that apology, and that's okay. I'm going to do positive things with his crappy behavior, and he's the influence of all of this. So good things will happen in his name, whether he wants it to or not. Let me see here. College student. What's your question, Aubrey? Yes. I just had a lady pass away the other day, Terry. DIC, yes. We are finding that this is a diffusion issue when it comes to the oxygenation problems. DIC, it's hard to explain. Let me see if Google has like a better, just plain old science. Sometimes I just have to Google it to see what their easy description is. Disseminated intravascular coagulation. Serious, which proteins that yes, they become overactive. It's the hypercoagulation. That's why we're looking at the ferritin issue. And the guy who's receiving the immunoglobulin, I went and looked at his blood work, and some of his are actually rising with this immunoglobulin therapy. I don't want them to rise. The D-dimer is like through the roof. That is not the reaction we're looking for. We're looking for those things to come down. Nothing is making those come down right now. So, it is, yes, these blood clots, yes, unfortunately. That's all I've been talking about, that this is a cardiovascular issue. It is causing cardiovascular issues. The DIC, we just had a lady, she went into it just before she passed away. So, going on. Well, Aubrey, it's the same type of situation that I'm talking about right now. It's causing an overactive immune system response is what we're finding with all of this. It is not a respiratory virus. It is a vehicle into the body, and that infection is causing your immune system to go berserk. And there are certain things that happen with an immune response. We call it the cytokine response. It's a cytokine storm. And we see that sometimes with asthmatics, and they take a drug called Singulair, which we are giving to people. Which helps to control the mast cell ruptures, which causes more immune response. So it is overactive immune system. We don't know why it's happening in kids. I was reading an article tonight that it's happening in some kids 6 weeks after infection. So that's freaking scary. Is this going to continue to happen after we send people home? Do we have to worry about this? And that's why we need you to control the spread of this and not overwhelm our healthcare system right now, because we don't know. Research. We have to science the crap out of this. It takes time. Science does not happen overnight. We need to test the population to get the true infection number so we can see what the infection mortality rate is. Not the case mortality rate that we're seeing on TV that is scaring the crap out of everybody. I explained this last night. So if they test the population, like Z-Dog said, and they find that only like 5% of the population has been infected, but we have this high number of deaths. When you do the statistics on that, then the infection mortality rate is very high. Whereas if you have a 30% infection of the population with that same number of deaths, the infection mortality rate is lower. That's the statistics that people need to do. I just love math that's being done on my page, on my video. It's like, no, that's not how this works. You don't even know the math that you're entering into the calculator. Do you understand the output? No, you don't. That's what we need to look at, and we need people to get tested. That's the answer. We need widespread testing. We're not trying to government track your bodies. Like with the flu, I believe it's like a 50% infection rate that gives you herd immunity. 90% infection of the population for mumps. So we don't even know what herd immunity levels are for this yet. We need numbers. We need data. We have to science the crap out of it. Like Z-Dog says, I really suggest you all follow Z-Dog. He goes on rants that are more epic than mine. He loves his F-bombs, but, you know, he gets frustrated. He's a very passionate man about what he does. And when people just do stupid things, it's so frustrating when we're trying to educate and we have pandemic videos coming out and the entire population going, but what? No but anything. The evidence is there to prove this lady wrong, and that is why she has been torn down from everything. It is not some government conspiracy. Stop it. Stop that. Hey guys, Miss Jocelyn. Let's see here. I'm an RN. It is difficult, hard to put into easy terms. Thank you, OB case manager. The help. Oh my gosh, help syndrome. God, I hated seeing that. It was never really a good outcome when that happened. Oh my God. I hate losing new mothers to that. That's what makes it so hard to work in this field sometimes, man. We see a lot. We see a lot outside of this. High death rate out here. We already see a lot with a lot of us. It's just, there's so many things that we wish we could do, and there's just nothing. When I started at Hurley, the nurses had told me that there was a lady with throat cancer who was getting radiation on her neck, and they wound up going through her carotid artery, and she sat there writing notes to her family while she slowly bled to death and died. Can you imagine watching that? I can't at all. But yet we go home with that every day, and our loved ones wonder why the heck we're so crabby and exhausted and mentally drained. We don't just go to work and push buttons and come home. No. We are mothers at home. We are caregivers at the hospital. The things that we do that you do not see are just amazing. And I'm going to have to go onto the Cleveland Clinic page and grab that video and share it. It's about compassion, and we need that. Oh my God, if I see one more person, they are lucky I'm not in public, because I would just slap some sense into them about the flu. I need to do a short video about how this is not the flu. I need to find some really good numbers and slideshows. But of course, when I do that and waste my time, I'm going to hear, you're just making it up. You're not a real doctor. No, I'm a real respiratory therapist. You can go to the National Board of Respiratory Care and verify my credentials, and you can verify my license with the states that I'm in. I am not going to post them online. If you're going to accuse me of things, go do your own damn research. I'm not going to waste my time. I have my former coworkers on here who know exactly who I am. And all the hospitals who hire me know exactly who I am. What do you mean if you fall into the hands of someone that is behind that finding? Here's the thing. If you are treated with one of these drugs and you have a positive outcome, we have to do research to figure out, and they're going to do that by looking at lab values, trends. What we do is we trend these markers. We look at when we gave you the drug and how your levels are responding. Is your healing based off of your body's natural immune response and healing itself in just the matter of time, or was it the drug? That's what trials are for. They give placebos, they give the drug, and we look at the numbers. We science the crap out of the numbers. We can't always say it was attributed to the drug until we do the research. It could just be a coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidences. That's why I like to look at trends. And there is so much more behind these trials, and people are, they've all become scientists and doctors and everything overnight. No, you drive a truck, you drive a forklift, you sit behind a computer all day. You are not a molecular biologist or a scientist or study biochem. If you sat into a chemistry class, you probably would mix bleach with the wrong chemicals and asphyxiate yourself because you don't know better. Stop that. Stop it. Just educate. I don't, what I'm seeing is the patterns that we're not, I mean, I'm not seeing the responses. The doctors are not seeing the responses that everybody, you know, Remdesivir, I think, only has like a 30% case improvement. So that's not everybody who's going to respond to those drugs. And again, are we looking at the fact that is it the person's immune system is naturally healing and they're going through the course of the disease, or was it the case that the drug helped them out? We have to research. We have to science the crap out of it. My parents won't wear masks or sanitize because they believe it's just the flu. Please have them sign their DNR orders so we don't have to do chest compressions. I just don't even understand how people can think that this is just the flu. The flu, when they give you the numbers for death, it's for a whole freaking year. Okay, so when you give me the calculations for death and the flu, that's over a 12-month period. The coronavirus is only over a couple-month period. So when you look at the numbers that way and compare them, it's a completely different story. So please do the proper math. Asthma, but I'm petrified to let my kids... We are not finding that people with asthma or COPD have any higher admission rates than they already do. It was like 5% for COPDers and 9% for asthma or something like that normally every other day of the year. And that is this almost the identical number right now. The increase in admissions in the hospital is for people with cardiovascular problems, high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, obesity. Obesity is a big one because your body is already in a state of oxidative stress. This is causing oxidative stress. So eat healthy, have a better diet, sleep. Those are things that you desperately need for your body to maintain its homeostasis. Your body is a fine-tuned machine over evolution. It has figured out how to maintain itself at a perfect balance. It doesn't need anything but you to put in the healthy things that you put in. Quit eating all the extra sugar. Quit eating all the carbohydrates and high fat and cholesterols. Your body does need some cholesterol. It is a neurotransmitter for your heart, so you have to have some cholesterol, but eat the good stuff. And that's what Respiratory Raf, he's got a lot of information on his Instagram about things that help your body not go into oxidative stress and to help prevent inflammation. Great resource. When I seen that, I was like, yes, you are the person I need to work with because you are on the same level I am. Educate things like that because that is important. It's not influenza. It is. It's a totally different mutation of the SARS virus. This is something that has now evolved from God knows where. I have my own personal views on that. And, you know, I try to keep my opinion out of things and just give you guys the facts because that's what's important. Just because I think something doesn't mean it's true. And I'm willing to hear other theories, but I'm not definitely going to listen to pandemic theories. No, I'd rather go watch the rest of the Tiger King. Yeah. I think her and Carol Baskin need to hang out for a while with some tigers. That's what I think about that video. But, yeah, that's a good point, Sherry. You can download a living will and DNR order or advanced directives online, and you want to make sure it's specific to your state because there's different state laws for everything, but you need to go get it notarized and make sure you give it to your doctor and let your family know where it's at because your wishes are very important because what happens during these times is when your family has to make these decisions, they're making them off of emotion. And the United States, and I had this discussion last night, in most other countries, they don't even give you the option of a ventilator if it's not going to have a high outcome of positivity. They're not going to waste the resources. And people think that we're killing people because of that. No, we're not going to waste a insurance bill of tens of thousands of dollars. Yes, it costs a significant amount of money to set that ventilator up. They charge more when it comes to the COVID because we have to take more risks and more precautions, and it does cost the hospital more to set that ventilator up and pay us. So All those costs are associated with COVID. It's not for every ventilator setup, and we have to prove that patients are testing positive for COVID. We can't just go, oh, they're COVID positive without testing. That's not how any of that works. You guys have all become medical billers and coders overnight too. But there's an initial charge for the vent. We charge for that. But if you do not have a high outcome, like if your 90-year-old grandma is like this big around and you want us to go do chest compressions on her and put her on a ventilator, most countries aren't going to do that because she's not going to survive. If you've seen, I mean, we break ribs and we like make a chest mush after multiple times of chest compressions. If you had to witness what we did, you'd be like, oh my God, stop. You're not given that option in many other countries. If a surgical option is not a good idea, a surgeon has the right to say that's not a good option and we're not going to perform that. But when it comes to that freaking ventilator, we allow people to torture each other. And families are making these decisions based off of emotion, not off of rational thought. And there are times you cannot get it through to people because they think that they need to do everything. And all they're doing, you know, a lot of times their loved one's already gone. They're brain dead or, you know, the lungs are pumping, the heart's pumping, but there's nobody home. And we have to sit and watch that. They're not sitting and watching that. They're sitting at home letting grandma suffer on the freaking ventilator until her body gives out. People shouldn't be given that option to do that during a horrible time. Please don't do that to your family, and please get a living will and advance directives. I cannot, right now, oh my God, maybe I'll find a link and pin to where to get advance directives. Go get them notarized and give them to your family. If you have a family lawyer, give it to them so they know. Don't make your family make those decisions during a tough time like that because they do not make good decisions. They don't. And then they argue with each other. You have 6 siblings. 5 siblings say, let grandma go or mom go. And one of them wants to argue that, oh God, they're going to have a positive outcome or whatever. Man, the nightmares that we deal with from not having advance directives is just, it's terrible. It puts everybody in a horrible position and it creates nothing but hate and animosity. And they think that we're not trying to kill people. But there are times where don't put me on a vent unless I'm just getting off a surgery and I need it to support me for a few days. We get open heart patients, we usually get them off the vent in 6 hours. It's freaking amazing and how fast that they recover after we aggressively wean like that. We need that body to heal on its own and take on that strength. And they're out of the hospital in a few short days with zippers up their chest of staples. And they do far better than these people sitting in the ICU for 2 weeks because we get them off the vent sooner. So please don't do that. Go get advance directives. Please, 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 please. Let me see here. What about the peeps that say we need to build up immunity to this virus? We will eventually build up immunity to this virus, but you're not going to do it by going out and just having a chickenpox party. That's not how this works. What we need to know is the infection rate of the population first and know what level herd immunity is and how many deaths that we're getting in the population before we determine what level that is. That's what we need to do. We need to science the crap out of it first. Yes, Darlene, he is awesome, and I can't wait to do more with him. He's not on Facebook yet, so I've encouraged him to open a Facebook just to help me out with this because I would love to have him on the RT Says What page. I would love him to be able to do live videos and be able to answer questions about food, nutrition, and stuff like that. Yeah, workouts mandatory. That would be great, man. Mandatory PT like the military have. I got all these doctors here and all these medics who are working at University Hospital, and they're making them do mandatory PT. They're going out in their PT gear every day. So, you know, mandatory vaccinations, my ass. Let's do PT and healthcare because it'll reduce the costs. If people would just get off this, it's not helping that we're stuck on the sofa right now eating bonbons and donuts and Uber Eats either. Yes, I wish people would be more on top of advanced directives. It's like, it doesn't make it any easier that when you go to the hospital and they ask you if you have an advanced directive or want information on one, bring a notary. Like, have a notary at the hospital who would be willing to notarize your documents right there, because most people aren't thinking about when they get discharged to go into a notary to have that signed. I am a sarcastic human being. My buddy Derek, who just joined, he knows. He listens to my rants and laughs. I do go off, but I also have a point of my rants. They're not just pointless. I do put the live videos, I do post them. I'm trying to download them all to put them on the RT Says What page, like in a folder, so people can go back and go through them. I do want to just kind of touch upon some topics and make short videos so people don't have to scroll through my long-ass live videos, but they're long because people are interacting and asking questions. So what I advise to do is, like, if you see a question that's been asked, you can see the time and then just forward the video to the time. And then you can see what the answer is and what the interaction is after that. You know, that's the easiest thing I can recommend right now. I'm trying to make this easier. It's all new. So with creating the LLC now, and I have to deal with that website. Yeah, I'm definitely not, I tried HTML. Nope. Respiratory. I speak and peep and pips and things like that. Let's see here, chickenpox party. And it's true. It's true. Patients with delirium. It's hard to tell because most of my patients are not home anymore. There's been so much lack of oxygen that it's just involuntary natural movements. Like if I stick a sponge in their mouth to brush their teeth, they'll close their mouth on it, but opening their eyes and responding, no. My patient that was taken off the vent that was very argumentative this morning and being a warrior, he's not so-called delirious, but he is confused after all this sedation trying to work through his body. But there is such thing called ICU delirium. And we do see that. So in normal patients that don't have COVID, I see it a lot. It does take days to recover from. They get sundowners. They get everything flips and flops. Their days get, it's just like a child. Their days and nights are mixed up. So yeah, we do see that, but I haven't had many patients wake up, so it's hard to tell with these guys. Hey, cuz. My long-ass live videos and interaction. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to get going on this LLC. My cousin and I are going back and forth with ideas for logos and graphics and mottos. So if you guys want to see anything, shoot me those ideas so we can work with those. I'm really excited. I really want to work with the Combat Veteran Spouse page as well, because that's how all this started. So like I said, the name of the website will be Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse. And if you don't follow me on that Facebook page, go ahead and do that, because that's the story of how I got to where I am right now and what I've been through to get here. Educate us on the mask controversy. Oh, these people. So most people who wear a mask don't do it right. They're touching the outside of it. They're taking it on and off. They're not washing their hands afterwards. And in the hospital, during cold and flu season, or even when you're sick, we have masks available. We ask sick people to put them on so they're not spreading their droplets. People who are immunocompromised, people who are on immunosuppressants and chemotherapy, they wear a mask to protect themselves from any germs because their entire immune system is knocked out trying to fight cancer and anything that they catch. My friend Marisa, she's got a son who's going through this right now. She has to be very careful, and any spike in fever, I mean, it can kill them. So they wear masks. Average people in the community are not up in your face, and you really have to be close to somebody to spread those droplets. This is not an airborne virus. If you are in somebody's face like I am, suctioning and doing all these respiratory things, then yes, you should probably wear an N95 because it's flying around in the air right in front of you. I wear goggles because I can't see through the damn face shield. It fogs up. At least I got the anti-fog goggles and I don't have to worry about it, and my glasses fit in there. But the average person should not have to wear a mask. It is stupid. It is stupid to wear a mask on a trail where you're running and hiking and trying to jog and exercise and try and breathe through a freaking mask with your hot ass breath. So no, not everybody should be wearing a mask because they don't do it right. Don't touch it. Don't touch your face. Wash your freaking hands. People don't do that, and they do all these subconscious activities. I was just reading another article, and I don't even know where I put it. I think it was about the Surgeon General. And when I went to the link, it was like this long when I kept trying to paste it, and I was going to go find another one, and I got sidetracked on Facebook, and I didn't go do it. But the Surgeon General had posted, they did a little study, and like on average, people touch their face 16 times an hour. It was double when you put a mask on your face. So you're just making it worse. Stop it. So no, I'm not cool with everybody wearing a mask. Every time I run out of this hotel room, because we have to wear a mask, mandatory in any store or anything down here, how about wash your hands? Give me a sink or some sanitizer at the front door, and we should be good to go. I would wear a mask just because I'm exposed to COVID every day, and to protect other people, I would wear a mask just because I could be asymptomatic and healthy and still spread it. But I'm in direct contact with these patients every day. Not everybody else is. So that's how I feel about the masks. And Z-Dog, I posted his mask rant on my RT Says What page, along with the gloves. Don't do that either. That's gross. People don't wear those right either. Hey, Donna. IgA. I don't know. We're still studying the immune system response. We don't even understand what the hell's going on fully right now, especially with all these kids. And I'm waiting to see how this spreads across other areas that were highly affected. I got a message from a lady last night, but I did not get an update about how her grandson was doing. But he had a rash spreading everywhere that could very well have been signs and symptoms of it. And I hope she reaches out to me to let me know how this child is, because if it was my kid, ER it would have been, and they were on the phone with the doctor to take him in. Yes, Army Reserve doctors and nurses. Army is doing a lot of stuff out here, man. They're doing a lot with these COVID patients, and they are helping out, and it is awesome. Most of the other people in the hotel, besides just a few healthcare workers here in New Jersey, are all military. I mean, they have like a little base downstairs of, morale boosting things, because we see a lot. And these soldiers already deal with a lot by being deployed and going to combat. Now they're dealing with COVID. Damn. Opening up only means we have IC. Yes, Jennifer. I loved the meme. But yeah, this pandemic and opening up and, all these things, it just means that, this social distance and self-quarantining and all these stay-at-home things just mean that I have more open ICU beds to fill up with you people when you come running out the damn door like the Kentucky freaking Derby to spread this shit everywhere. Because that's what's happening. People are not abiding any guidelines. They are running out like it is like, oh my God, kids at recess. That's the best way I can explain it. So all these open ICU beds that I have now, because we were social distancing, and yes, that's what helped flatten the curve, is staying the hell at home and not spreading it to people. Now all these open ICU beds that I have your name all over them when you come running out those doors not following directions. I'll see you soon. Please have your advance directive signed, because at my hospital, after 24 hours on a ventilator, you're automatically made do not resuscitate. You don't get the option anymore. You're made DNR, because we can't be doing chest compressions on you and exposing ourselves to COVID, especially if you've been an asshole and went and spread this everywhere, and now you want to cry and have us come save you, because that's what people do. I hear so many times, I wish I would have listened, especially when it came to the flu shot. You can go on any damn Google search and you can find all these articles of parents who wish they would have given their kid the flu shot because of how serious things got and how they seen their kid on a ventilator and they almost died, or they did die. So yes, get your flu shot, please, because it has been researched. I will not be getting any COVID vaccine myself for at least 5 years. I want to see science. I want to see what's in this. If people want to volunteer to get vaccinated, that is their option. Not this girl. But I will tell you, in the 10 years that I have been a respiratory therapist, I have never had to take a day off during cold and flu season for getting the flu, because I get my damn flu shot, and sometimes 2 of them a year. I get a booster in like February, March time, because in the cold weather months in like Michigan, it's still snowing in May, that season gets extended. So I have never been sick, knock on wood, from getting my flu shot. And I am in the face of flu and influenza and COVID every freaking day. And I also wash my hands and wear my PPE properly. It's very important. Went out shopping today. I kid you not, someone took off their mask to cough. Oh my God. Oh my God, the stupidity in that maneuver. Like, really? Wow. Like, I actually sneezed in my mask, and I'm like, do I still cover with my elbow? And I did, because it's a natural reaction to cough and sneeze into my arm. But it was kind of weird. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's serving its purpose, but to take it off to cough, human intelligence is damn it. I hope you pointed that out, Genevieve. You need to stand up and go, hey, do you know what you just did? Oh my gosh. Yes, the masks, and I do believe that the CDC, hang on, because I think I was reading about this. CDC, come on, quit trying to. I do believe that they have retracted everybody wearing the damn mask. I'm trying to find the most recent, because of course Google won't sort this by date for news articles. It's come on. I hate laptops. I really hate them because the mouse does whatever it wants. I was reading articles, but I never got to fact check. Important information. Everyone wears cloth face coverings, prevent the person. I know the Surgeon General has said no. And I would rather listen to the freaking Surgeon General. Okay, yeah, they're still recommending everyone wear cloth face coverings, and cloth face coverings are useless. They don't have any micron filters in them. Yes, we ask you to cough into your arm. I mean, seriously. It is the Surgeon General that had recommended, and I wish Trump would listen to him instead of the freaking CDC sometimes. I will repost the link when I find the Surgeon General warning. Let's see here. I don't want the CDC. That's from March 2nd. I gotta find the freaking original article, because I like to go to the OG and not something that's been reprinted. They did a fact check about face masks not weakening the immune system. But I want to find the Surgeon General's actual comment, and I will find that because it's important. People are stupid. Hi, sweetheart. I created my LLC, so I will be going into business. I will be tested. Yes, I did post on, I don't need to be, I'm sure if I wanted to be tested, I would. I don't really see a need. I haven't had any signs, symptoms, other than the pain that I'm always in. Nothing exaggerated that can't be cured by getting some sleep. If I were to be symptomatic, then I would be tested. But if they offer it to everybody in the community, then yes, I'm going to go get tested. Right now, I'm not going to restrict tests for other people. What I do recommend, I did post on the RT Says What page, Quest Diagnostics. They are now doing COVID testing for antibodies. For those of you who think that you have had it in the past because you were extremely sick, go get it done. I don't know if you need a doctor's order or not. You may, but your PCP, if you call them, will be more than happy, I'm sure, to write you one. If not, I would find a new PCP, because they're just being lazy. But go get it done. And then try to get a hold of your public health department to do contact tracing so we can figure out where you've been and who you might have got it from or where you could have been exposed. Because we need to trace this. We need to do that. And it's not to intrude in your life. It's to figure out the spread of this disease and its behavior. All of these viruses behave differently. Not every one of them is the same. They can be in the same family. They mutate differently. They spread differently. We have no freaking clue where this came from. We know it didn't come from here. It came here. And we know where. I don't care what anybody says about the lab in China. Yes, China. Went to a deli worker wearing his mask and plastic gloves. Kept it. Yeah, see, right there, I would have said, you know what? Nope. I would have noped right out of there. I would have educated him and had him wash his hands and put on a new mask and noped right out of there. Because, see, that employer needs to be educated on how to teach their employees. And what they have found with wearing gloves with food service workers is cross-contamination. There's plenty of research articles on it, and now they are actually advising against wearing gloves. They advise you to just wash your hands in between each order because there's a lot of cross-contamination going on. They're touching other things and then touching your food. I would just have somebody take off their gloves instead of wearing them. I really hated when, I think Subway was one of the first people that started doing that when I seen it, but I'll repost the cross-contamination articles too when it comes to food service workers, and don't you dare wear a pair of gloves if you're in front of me doing my food. You can just go wash your damn hands. 300 people at Walmart. Yeah, see, that's too many people. There's supposed to be so many people, like 25% capacity. And they're not doing that. And Walmart has the power to ask people to wear a mask or ask people to do certain things. It's their damn store. And if you don't like it, you have the right to go somewhere else if you don't like it. You don't have the right to tell them. But Walmart should be a little bit more socially responsible, and I suggest that you flood their Facebook page with those comments. And they will respond if enough people get on there. Just like the Uber driver who thought that all of the New York nurses and all of us who work in healthcare should be shot to stop the spread of COVID. Uber is really bad for responding. It's all a bunch of robots, but they did respond, and he's no longer an Uber driver. So it works. Get people together who do not agree, and you can create a Facebook group for your own area, neighborhood, where you guys can come talk about things like adults. The Nextdoor app is a really good place to be because people are very friendly and well behaved on there. It's not like Facebook. There's no trolls. So that's a great place to have discussions with your neighbors as well. So I would really recommend the Nextdoor app. Thank you. I love my purple hair. I've been doing purple for a really long time. And I just ordered some conditioner that's got the dye in it. So when I don't have to use the shampoos that strip the color. And plus my hair is breaking. I've had to bleach it a lot, and I don't want to do that anymore. It's kind of why I wear this, so it stops everything from standing up until it grows back out. And then I ain't bleaching it no more. But at least with the conditioner, I can keep the dye without having to put the chemicals in my hair too. So hopefully, I usually have pigtails on either side. So I would like to get back to doing that because it's really great in the heat in El Paso in the summer because I have very curly hair and I don't like it. Yeah, the stupidity is just, yes, try to meditate. Try to meditate to just deal with the stupidity. Do not count on your attorney to have your DNR or health. Yeah, make sure that your family and your family doctor and the facility that you go to for your health care has your advance directive on file because they will ask for a copy, and we do put it in your chart. It's one of the first documents as soon as you open a patient's chart. They're living will, advance directives if they have one. I mean, and it's labeled. It's very easy for us to find. It's a very important document. Oh, my God. I will definitely provide a link to where you can create the document yourself. Get it notarized because it's not valid until it's notarized. Okay? You can take it to your bank. A lot of banks do it for free. I have friends who are notaries. Anybody who's a notary can do that. You can find them very easily. And most places do it free or for a very low cost. Yes, entertaining education. I like that, Jennifer. Education with entertainment. You know, and that's what I like about Z-Dog. I mean, he spoke for like an hour and a half at our respiratory conference, but he was so motivational and inspirational with his stories that you could really relate, and it did not make that education seem like education, but yet he did a lot in a very short period of time. And he does public speaking engagements. I see people on his freaking page, oh, you're being paid off and you're being paid to do. Well, yeah, he's a public speaker. He has to bring in revenue somehow, you know. He doesn't do it this for free. You know, when you have 1 million followers on Facebook and you're a doctor with a Stanford education, well, hell yeah, he's got the right to make an income. We're allowed to work independently, and that's what I would like to eventually do with the LLC with other respiratory therapists, is generate our own income by doing consultant work, and that's exactly what he's doing. But he's a great speaker, and of course he doesn't go to every place and talk like that. You know, there's a time and place for that. He does not speak to everybody that way, but we do go on our rants. See, I find it scary that we expect non-healthcare or hazmat people to understand the proper way to protect people from. I know. I find it very scary that, like, the Ocasio-Cortez lady, the bartender, is a law helping with make laws, you know, and a representative who does not really understand how that works. I think that she could have a little bit better background to understand that we can't just give free rent to everybody, because there's people who own those homes and those buildings who have to pay the mortgage as well. There's other resources out there that maybe we need to look at than just going, no, you shouldn't have to pay your landlord. That's not how it works. It's not how any of this works. You can't tell the bank, I don't think I should have to pay. It doesn't work that way either. I really think that people should have at least a basic understanding of how things work and come up with better, like a proposal of how to make a solution to that problem, instead of just saying, we shouldn't have to do this. Give us a solution. Give us something to work with, an idea to bounce off of, instead of being part of the problem. That woman, I'm sorry, she has a lot of ignorant things to say. And, you know, maybe she has a lot of potential. She does need to learn. She is a very, very freshman representative, and she needs to learn from other people who have experience, and maybe shut up long enough to take some advice from her elders. That's how I feel about people who don't understand things. You know, you go from a bartender to a representative with no knowledge of anything of how things work. You at least have to have a basic understanding. I wouldn't let you work on my car without an understanding of how it works. It's the best way I can compare things to. House full of mold, which I'm in court with my landlord, so if you're wearing an N95 for just 20 or 30 minutes a day, it's going to last for a while. Just make sure you're not touching the outside. When you take it off, put it in a paper bag. That's what we have to do at work. But if you're wearing it for hours and hours on end and sweating and breathing and, you know, you're around contaminants, then it's not going to last long. But if you're just wearing it short term, that's going to last for a while. You're going to get some use out of it as long as it's clean. If you have a way to just let it sit and bake in the sun for a little while to help kill some things that are in it, great. I'm sorry that you have to live in a house full of mold. I really do, because there is a lot of bad landlords out there, and they take advantage of really good people, and you're stuck in a situation where you can't get out of, and that really pisses me off, and they do need to be held accountable. Counts people coming in and going out. Yeah, we really need, yes, Meijer is doing a good job of, yeah, I love Meijer. I really miss their produce section. Counting in the Walmart in El Paso, that's what they were doing. They had a tablet, and there was somebody else with a ticker and counting the people, and then they stop you. The one here in New Jersey does the same damn thing. They only let so many people in, so many people come out, another group goes in. Now, it really sucks when you're standing outside in the freezing cold in New Jersey, but if you want to go in the store, that's what you have to do. Yes, see, that's the responsible way to do it, but they need to wash their hands in between. But a lot of them don't. I've seen them go from touching money to touching the microwave oven door, and that's a problem. As long as they're washing their hands after any change in gloves, any change in task. You cannot go from touching money to touching the microwave and then going to hand washing. You can't do it in that sequence. Did you get information? I did share, Peggy, on my RT Says What page. Quest Diagnostics is doing antibody testing now. So reach out to them, check out the website, see if they have anybody in your area. And that's one of the best places to start. I also shared the CDC page, which has the links to all the laboratories who are authorized. So they should have some information on their page too, but it's on the RT Says What page. You are welcome. Yes, fresh air right now is great anyway. We all need fresh air. We cannot stay cooped up. If it's warm enough, throw open those windows and enjoy some fresh air. No, my facility is not. I really wish they were, and I really wish we had real N95s. I traded in my Chinese ones that are not real N95s because they do not seal for something that does seal, especially after the incident that we had this morning where I could have had COVID blown all over my face if my good friend Marissa had not sent me the N95 that she did, and I would have had to use the ones that I was given. So thank you, Marissa, again. I don't know if it's just because the hospital can't get their hands on them or if the cost, I do not know. But they did get a lecture from me this morning. I tried to be nice because I do understand the situations that we are being put in. I am not going to get on here like that nurse did in New York City and just rant and rave about sociopathic behavior and not knowing who to report it to. There's a chain of command and a way to conduct yourself, and I definitely did not conduct myself like she did when I went to the supervisor this morning. I laid it out like, hey, this is what happened. This is the risk, and we need to make sure that this doesn't happen again because we don't want to have any more employees on ventilators dying. And they were very receptive to that. What they would have not been receptive of is me bawling my eyes out, calling my coworkers names and telling them that they're trying to kill people. No, we don't do that. That's not professional. I really enjoy my career, and I really want to keep people healthy. We all do. And we're just under a lot of stress right now. And sometimes during stressful times, people make bad decisions. It's not for the fact of being a sociopath. It really isn't. I'm in Ohio. DeWine did wonderful for getting that passed. Awesome. Let's see here. Okay, if she's majoring in international relations and economics, then she should come up with an economical decision or solution to wanting people to just go bankrupt and lose their ability to rent those places out. She didn't have a solution. She just wants landlords to not, she just wants them to waive rent. There was no solution, no idea to toss around that people can work with. It was just, we shouldn't do this. We should just give everybody stuff for free. Nothing's free. Nothing is free. Those are our tax dollars at work, and there's other solutions. We can do better. And, we are all struggling to pay our rent, but if those people don't pay their rent, those landlords can't pay their mortgages for those buildings. So then what happens? It goes into foreclosure, and now those people aren't going to have homes any damn way. And in Flint, hell, in Gladwin, there was a trailer park that wasn't paying their freaking water bill, even though the people were paying the park for their water. So what did they do? They cut the goddamn water off, even though these people paid their bill. There are ramifications to all of this. So things need to happen in a certain way. We can't just give shit away for free. I'm sorry. It's not a free-for-all. We should not just, this is not, what people are acting like is reminding me of the LA riots where they just bashed in storefronts. And that's what's happening out in Seattle. The Macy's store that was closed, people just busted out the front window and were going and cutting the locks off of the expensive purses and running out the door with them. Really? That's the way we want to behave? Because that's really what's happening out in these places. That's not an answer. All that robbery and all that, those things do get sold at other places. There is revenue to be had there. Taking it and it's not yours and trying to give something away that's not yours is not okay. We can't do that. You know, that'd be like me walking into your house and opening up your fridge and taking your milk and going back home and going, deal with it. We're just going to give away to everybody and take because that's what we do. No, that's not. You need to come up with, if you're going to sit and bitch, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Come up with an idea. Because when you have ideas like that, now we have brainstorms and people can work together, hopefully, and not call each other names and, you know, things like that. Being labeled a Democrat or Republican, you know, I have people, oh, you freaking Democrat. Dude, did you even listen to my video? Did you even read the comments of, you lost me at Trump supporter? Nope. Nada. People just make stupid assumptions. We are getting people reinfected. Now, the severity of the reinfection, I don't know. And we're looking at these kids now. We don't know if they were infected a while ago, infected now. There's a lot of testing that needs to be done. So, oh my God, we don't know. It's like every time we think we know something, oh shit, here comes something else, man. We're getting hit blindsided with freaking COVID. I feel like I've been beat over the head with a COVID baseball bat. The New York nurse, no, we are in stressful situations. People are dying. There is a 97% rate of death if you are put on a ventilator over the age of 65. It's something like 70 something. It's right here. Hang on. In my book of notes on COVID. So there is a very high freaking death rate, no matter if you're young or old. And when you combine the two numbers, it's like 88% death if you get put on a vent. You will not survive. 76.4% between the ages of 18 to 65 if you get put on a ventilator. That's how many will die. Over the age of 65 is 97.2. Those numbers are very low if you're not put on a vent, like 19.88% between the ages of 18 to 65 and 26% under the age of 65. So we're trying not to put you on a ventilator anymore. We know it's causing damage. We have scienced the crap out of that one, and it is more than abundantly obvious that ventilators are not a good situation unless you just cannot handle it anymore. So what happens is the body goes into all the, renal failure. We ran out of dialysis chemicals, so those were on back order. We couldn't get them, so we couldn't do dialysis. You have doctors who don't work in the critical care field because they have MD after their name. Administration is sticking them in situations that they should not even have been put in. And we're all trying to do the best we can under stressful situations. And that nurse really probably should have had her little cry in the bathroom and then maybe went to hospital administration or made a phone call to the Joint Commission or OSHA or any other number of places that could have handled her problem better than getting on Facebook and doing that. We had a long discussion at work last night about this, me and nurses and the doctors, and she made us all look really bad. People are now thinking that we're just at hospitals killing people when we're sitting in the bathroom actually crying. The nurse or the resident doctor who dealt with the 19-year-old who passed away, he is the one who made the phone call to that child's mom. He is the one who was there when she came to identify his body. And he's a Methodist, and they were walking by the chapel, and she asked him to pray with her, and he did. And he's like, it was like the most difficult thing to help that woman go through that. And I'm like, that's going to make you a better doctor by having that human compassion. I said, thank you for doing that, because that is what helps give good patient care, is having that level of compassion. And it probably will leave a positive experience in that woman's bit of hell of losing her son, instead of just getting a blank phone call from somebody who, is not good with bedside manner. There's some doctors who suck at bedside manner. Thoracic surgeons, a lot of them are just like, I just want to do surgery. I don't want to deal with the bedside stuff. And that's fine. There's some people who just should not do that. And they usually know their limitations. I had a neurosurgeon at one of the hospitals I worked at who was not good with bedside manner and had many complaints. Just probably should have his PA come in and maybe do the talking, and he could stand by the side. and let somebody who does it better. They just need to know their limitations. Some people just don't have that level of compassion, but they're good at their job. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's just the opposite. But we're all doing the best we freaking can. I am telling you what, we are not out here trying to kill people. They are not human science experiments. This is not a lab. We are doing every clinical trial at my hospital, every single one. And if we had miraculous results, I'm sure they would be on the news out here, but we are not seeing that. Let's see here. Recently bought a Made in the USA. That's fine. Sometimes Made in the USA is more expensive, and right now we have to be cost efficient, but that's what we need to keep doing, is supporting our country. Quit supporting China. I don't even know why we ordered Chinese N95 masks, especially after how much they've let us down. They have different standards to those N95s, and they're not as high as ours. The banks own the properties. Not always, Sherry. Not always. There are people who own they own more than one house, and they rent the other one out. That's their income, and they file it on their taxes every year. It's rental income. Regular people might own one or two houses. There's Airbnbs out here. They buy up houses out here and they rent them out, but they own them and they rent them out. That is rental income. No, the banks do not own the properties. And the bank shouldn't have to take and foreclose on a property because somebody doesn't want to pay their fucking rent. I'm sorry. If that's what you want, go buy your own home and have it foreclosed on by the bank. I'm sorry. Somebody should not be put in that position because they're renting out a home and somebody can't afford to pay. That's when you move out and find somewhere else to go. If you can't afford it, don't move into something don't live above your means. Don't put yourself in that position. A lot of people like to live outside of their means. They want to live in a big fancy home, but they don't make that big fancy paycheck to pay for it, and they have no financial cushion for when shit like this happens. You know, I know there's a lot of poverty-stricken families, but I'm going to tell you right now, the Hispanic folks, they live in multi-generational homes, and that whole entire family helps out, okay? Aunts, uncles, cousins, brothers, grandma, they all work their asses off, and they do it. So there's other options out there. I'm sorry, but you cannot force somebody to be put in the position to lose their income because somebody else wants to give your house away for free and make you lose it. That's not okay. Those Hispanics are hardworking folks. Those multi-generational homes, they do it, and they do it well. And they can support their families back in Mexico as well and pay taxes here. So they're doing it. They're doing the damn thing, and they do it well. I don't understand what being mature means. CPAP machines better. For what? Providing oxygen tomorrow? We are using BiPAP machines now. I had the patient this morning on BiPAP. We are trying to do everything we can to support the patient's oxygenation and respiratory needs without using a ventilator. Now, I can hook a BiPAP mask up to a ventilator if necessary, if I run on a BiPAP machines. They do run non-invasive on the ventilators. And some of the new the new BiPAPs can also run pressure control ventilation, so we can use both. But we can do it through a mask, and that is much better than having a tube put down because you keep all of those risks out. But there does come a point in time where the body can't keep up. And there are situations where BiPAP is no longer effective. But yeah, they are much better than being put on a ventilator. We don't want Mississippi, I don't want people fearing. What I want to do is give you education to help make good decisions, to remove the fears that you're having. I'm not out here trying to fearmonger, and these people leaving these freaking messages on my page, it's like, just shut up. A lot of them I just hide because it's just, I'm not, especially on my Journey of a Combat Veteran spouse page, I don't deal with the negativity because that is not PTSD and TBIs and people who have gone through trauma. That is not the place to be negative, and I will not deal with it on that page. Every one of them is removed. If we can have a mature discussion and question and answer, absolutely. But those comments on my Journey of a Combat Veteran spouse page will not be tolerated. Abso-freaking-lutely not. I am very, very controlling over that page just because of the sensitivity of the topic. People don't need to see that, and they don't need to hear it. What they need is love and support. My nurse community trying to reach out to her to get side knowledge she had. I don't know. I'm not a nurse. I'm respiratory. If it were one of my, actually, I think either she took her Facebook down or Facebook removed her profile because of the things that she was saying. You really have to be careful. If you are going to make statements like that, do it on your own website. Like I just bought my domain name. I can say whatever the hell I want on there and I won't be censored by Facebook. But when you get on there and you create that kind of fear in people, that we're killing people out here, that is something that needs to be controlled because, oh my God, that went like completely bananas and it's not okay. Maybe they should interview her and see. But I tried to reach out to her, but everything was taken down. But still, that would probably, she should probably issue a different video and explain herself because it's angered a lot of people in the healthcare community because it made us all look really bad. We are not sociopathic people who are trying to murder anybody. Not at all. Scariest part, we are still learning. There are so many unknowns, and that is the thing. There is no denominator in these statistics, guys. When you compare something, you have to have a common denominator. You cannot compare the flu to something with no common denominator. It's not there. The algebraic equation doesn't work. I wish a math teacher would get out here and do like a really awesome video and explain how this actually works. I hate math. I use Excel spreadsheet for all of my formula functions because I learned how to use Excel with computer accounting when I was doing all that and learned statistics and learned I don't want to work with it every day. But Peter Attia, the one that Dr. Z-Dog talks about, his friend, he's a doctor, but he works in mortgage and risk analysis. So he's got a great grasp on all of this. And he does a lot of blurbs and articles about this, and he's really good. He's a good person to explain this. Really good. Not me. I really hate math. If he was here, I bet I can. Hey, everybody. My landlord. Yeah, see, your landlord owns your building. It's not owned by the bank. A lot of people, there's a bunch of people who own properties, and imagine if everybody quit paying their freaking rent because they can't afford it. We have other options. I mean, and if you are forthcoming with your landlord, maybe they can work with you with some options that are affordable, but don't approach them or hide from them because that's not a solution to the problem, nor is giving their property away or telling them that they're not entitled to their income. Some of these people live on rental income. That's what they do for a living. They have invested their money into rental properties, and that is what they do. They can't afford to lose all that and have it taken from them because we want to give it away for free. There's a trickle-down effect there. You have to think about the other people. I understand the hardships right now. I do. There are resources out there. But we have to motivate ourselves to help ourselves. We can't just expect somebody else to bail our asses out every time we get buried under something. We can't. If we bury ourselves, and you need to form the tools to help yourself. A single mother who works her ass off for minimum wage with 5 kids, she's going to need more help than somebody who's just temporarily laid off whose job's going to come back. There are options. Talk to people. Talk to them with some respect. They do have human compassion. When you work with somebody, they are more apt to help you if you're not screaming at them and bitching all the damn time. Talk. Just talk. No, albuterol does not help with COVID. Albuterol does not help with COVID. No. Albuterol works on smooth muscle on the outside of the airway for wheezing. It's a bronchospasm, okay? This is inflammation. Albuterol does not magically open the airways no matter what doctor resident prescribes the shit. Oh my God, we get duonabbed to death. And with COVID, we don't aerosolize a damn thing and we don't give it to you because it's not indicated. Unless you have an underlying respiratory thing like asthma and you are wheezing and it may help. It does not get rid of CHF crackles. It does not help with pneumonia. It does not open the airways by magic. Oh my God, no. Incentive spirometers might help open the airway. Lung exercisers. Right now, we're trying to reduce the oxidative stress that is happening that is causing the inflammation. That's what needs to happen. No albuterol, unless you have underlying respiratory conditions. Oh my God, if I see one more doctor write that prescription, we just keep clicking the box that says contraindicated until they just discontinue the damn order, because we're just tired of going to find the resident who wrote that. They just want to write it for everything because, oh, you can't breathe, you get albuterol. No, let's get to the root of why you can't breathe, and then we'll write some prescriptions. Albuterol is one of the most overprescribed medications that is useless for most of the things that they write it for when it comes to breathing difficulties. Yep, in the Dominican neighborhood, those are tight-knit families. Those multi-generational households, they get it done. You know, they all work in different industries, but when they all pitch in towards the bills, like when somebody loses their job, somebody else can help pick up that slack. There's a solution, and they know how to do it. They've got it down. Their bills are paid. That's why they drive nice cars. That's why they have nice jewelry, because they're resourceful. They help each other. That's what families should do, instead of hate each other for their beliefs and views and divide everybody because they didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm just going to leave that there. Ghetto fabulous. Yes, I got called Nurse Ratchet the other day, but this person didn't even bother checking out what the hood version of Ratchet actually means. And here I am no way Ratchet. And the most expensive thing I have on my face is my Oakley glasses and my Ray-Bans, because insurance. And I own buckled jeans, and I only wear one pair. No, I'm not ghetto. Yeah. People who are ghetto fabulous are ratchet. And it's when you said that, yeah. Don't live outside your means. If you can't, I live in a very modest townhouse. It's perfect for what I need it for. I've turned it into a giant crafting zone. And I don't need anything else. I drive a vehicle with 330,000 miles on it that's still in pretty damn good shape and still going day I bought the damn thing. I don't need a new one. Don't go into debt for something you don't need just because you think it looks nice. Shit. Be reasonable. You don't need a $90,000 car if you can't even afford it. Imagine how much money you could have sunk into your house and bought it and knocked all that interest off your mortgage if you didn't have to have that big flashy car. You don't need it. You don't need to prove to somebody your wealth or your social status by what you drive. My best friend from childhood, her parents did it right. They're both retired lawyers now, but they shopped at yard sales. They drove used vehicles. They did everything very cheaply, and then they built their house with cash after they retired. They used to take their children on nice educational international vacations once or twice a year. But other than that, they lived very frugally and conserved their money instead of going out and blowing it to try and get some huge social status to impress who? I don't give a shit what people think of my car. I love my Ford Flex, and I would live in that sucker. I practically have, with 330,000 miles on it. But it gets the job done, and it's comfortable for me. I don't need a brand new one. People need to quit living outside their means and just be rational. You are paying full rent. You're doing it, Nina. You are doing it. And if you can do it, other people can too. And hopefully after this, when things open back up, things get a little bit easier for you. When you tell your story, people do have compassion and they do help. I mean, look at all the stories of these people going out and tipping waitresses $10,000. They're all going in as a group. My sister was involved with a group that all pitched in. I think it was $100 towards the tip, and that's what they do annually. That's what they do. That pays forward. Other people see that, and then they get together and do it. And kindness pays forward. It will come back. Karma is good too. Just want an Airstream. I do too. I just want to travel in a freaking motor, not really a motorhome. I want a fifth wheel. that I can convert to crafting space and also my living space and just go where I want to for work. I don't need a big house. I don't want one. My husband, oh my God, he always thought that oh, you lived with your brother who was a doctor before you moved here. I'm sorry my house isn't as nice as his. And I'm like, my brother didn't have an in-ground pool that cost $60,000 freaking dollars. I didn't need all that. I stayed in a basement. My brother and I stayed in our rooms. We barely used the rest of the house. I don't know why you think I need your house. I never wanted it. I just wanted a little space to do my crafts, and I was going to go rent that myself, and that caused an argument. So I don't know where that came from. I just want to live in a freaking RV. I just want to travel. I don't want to be tied anywhere. If I get a house, I'm tied to taxes. I'm tied to everything else. I don't want that. We don't have ECMO, Diana. ECMO is very limited. It's not widely available. It's only in certain areas. And if we have to put people on ECMO, the prognosis is even more poor because it gives the heart and lungs a break, but we have to take everything outside of your body and oxygenate it and do everything else with the blood, filter it. It's a big ordeal, and it's just not widely available for people. It's not a feasible option. I slept all day, John. I slept 9 hours today. When I did my video this morning, I went right to bed and woke up at like 7 p.m. I'm going to take a little bit of a nap. I'll probably fall asleep at like 2. I slept too long. I wanted to get up earlier so I could go to sleep earlier, but that ain't going to have to work day shift the next 2 days. So yeah, sleep. But no, I did have a good sleep today. Oh, I appreciate it, sweetheart. A crackle. Okay, that's a good question. So when we listen to the lungs, there are secretion sounds. If you have like a bunch of mucus in your airway, we call that rhonchi or coarse crackles. When we listen to it, it kind of sounds bubbly, but when you cough, it clears. Crackles, those like fine crackles usually happen with like fluid from like congestive heart failure or from pneumonia consolidation, and they don't clear with a cough, and they sound a lot finer. Or we call them rails sometimes. They have too many names for the same thing, like anything in the damn medical field. So when we listen to them, it's kind of a way to define where they come from. And if they clear with a cough, then they're coarse crackles or rhonchi, and it's just mucus. If it's congestive heart failure or a fluid overload, we call it fine crackles. Thank you, Donna. No, it looks completely different, Michelle. When we looked at it on the x-ray, it was looking like acute respiratory distress syndrome. But the thing is, it's like an equally spread pneumonia. And the reason it's equal is because it's just nothing but inflammation, and it's just doing it everywhere. So normally, like with a pneumonia or ARDS, like usually it's the right part of the lung because the right lung has a angle that allows the mucus and things to go down easier. And we'll see like one lung more affected than the other. This was just widespread and equal because of inflammation. So it doesn't look like COPD. COPD has a flattened diaphragm, so it's very full of air. It's like very black because there's just lots of extra air that gets trapped down here because the diaphragm flattens out and then it can't move the air anymore like it used to when it was nice and healthy and like a nice round half circle. Cancer is different. You get you get spots of cancer on a lung x-ray. Yeah, the Rice Krispie crackling, I really like playing with subcutaneous emphysema. That's where, like, when you get a pneumothorax and then the air leaks out and comes up to the skin, and it's, when you feel it, it's like crepe paper. And when you first feel it, you're like, what the hell? And then you realize what it is, and then you can't help but play with it. And donate, it does come back to you. Oh my gosh, Manitoba? Holy cow, Vanessa, welcome. How cold is it up there? Because it was bad here today. Yeah, thick white clouds. I mean, you can't even see any air. Like on some of these ventilator patients, Donna, I see like these tiny little black That's the only place that's moving air in the lungs is like just up here at the top. Everything else is just white. It's just not, when you listen, there's no air moving. There's nothing. It's like a brick. These COVID x-rays are terrible, and we don't really do a lot of CTs. Thanks, guys, for the happy Mother's Day. Dermatologist said there's no reason to stop Enbrel. I disagreed and quit it for psoriasis. It actually may help, John, because it's an immune system. We are using some of those drugs to research to see if it helps, because it's an immune system response. So psoriasis is an immune system response, and that helps to keep it under control. So I would actually recommend that you keep taking it, because it could help reduce any kind of response from your immune system. And you don't want your psoriasis getting out of control with this. Definitely. I don't see any reason to stop the Enbrel. I honestly think it may help you control the immune response if you do get it. How severe would it be for someone with scarred lungs? It could be very severe, and it could be deadly, because if you already have scarred lungs, you're not going to oxygenate properly. There's going to be scar tissue can't move oxygen. You can't diffuse it through scar tissue. Just imagine what it looks like on the outside. Now imagine trying to get like gases through that. It needs to be permeable. And with scar tissue, it's not. So if you've got damaged lungs from something, it's going to be worse for you. And you need to be careful. You would probably be a person I would recommend, hey, it might be wise to wear a mask. If you're otherwise healthy with normal lungs, you're probably not going to need to wear a mask around stupid people. But I would definitely, maybe if you have issues and and especially if you're prone to getting sick, wear a mask properly and don't fiddle with it, and keep your hands off your face. You are doing great, Donna. And honestly, if you check out MedCram, he is awesome. And they're very short, informative videos that help to really understand things. Hopefully you don't have to go help out in the ICU. Hopefully Governor Whitmer has gotten things under control and people quit rebelling like assholes in Michigan. I swear to God, it's almost embarrassing. I still have to read about that San Jose situation. I was reading about that when I decided to start the LLC, and I got on here to tell everybody about it. Sick in February, they gave me another treatment, and I could feel it. It probably wasn't burning your lungs. It was probably opening them, and it burned because you were finally able to breathe. You do have that sensation. It does go away once they open. Albuterol has a peak effect of, I believe, 20 to 30 minutes. I have to look at my pharmacology book. I need to study for my ACCS exam. That's what I need to be doing. But this is helping. This whole experience is helping because it's keeping me refreshed and on my toes. Yes, psoriasis is a response. I believe eczema is too. If I could... This fucking laptop. Pardon my French. I'm so over this laptop. Come on. Oh my God. There's some stupid ad on the screen that like froze up everything like Internet Explorer does. And yeah. There's a lot of words I'd love to say to this computer right now. I know what my next investment's going to be. And I really miss my desktop because that's where I'm usually sitting doing all these things. I just brought this laptop with me to do stuff. But as soon as I get stupid things on the computer that want to throw advertisements up and destroy my RAM. If you're on Enbrel, it's an immunologic, I believe. Donna, correct me if I'm wrong. And then it is working with the immune system response. I am going to punch this laptop screen. This is when I reboot and just shut everything down and start over. Here we go. I hate websites like that. And I promise not to put any ads on my website like that because I'm not trying to get people to push and do automated start videos and back up everybody's crap and pop things up on the screen that you don't want to look at. So I will deal with that on my own. Let's see here. I want to see what it says before I give bad information because sometimes I get it confused with eczema. All right, Mayo Clinic. That's a good, credible resource. Looks like there's, yeah, it's a disease, causes red, itchy scalp, mostly in the knees, elbows, trunks. Is long-term chronic disease, no cure, it tends to go through cycles, flaring. So, you know, usually if you have flares, it usually can be a response of the immune system. And a lot of times, all this, let's see, plaque psoriasis causes, I don't want, God, there's so many different causes. Yes, it's an immune system problem. Yes. That causes the skin to regenerate at faster than normal rates in the most common types of psoriasis, known as plaque psoriasis. This rapid turnover of cells results in scales and red patches. So yes, it is an immunologic that you are on. So definitely keep going with it. I mean, there's no reason to stop it. It's not... it's helping to control your immune system response. And that's what we need to do with COVID, because that's what is overreactive right now, is the immune system. So definitely, I would definitely keep taking that. If it were me and it was my health, I would not. I'd be like, hell yeah, let's give it a shot, because maybe I won't get COVID or I won't have as much of a response. We don't know, because we are using some of those immunologic medications to see what happens and see if it helps with the response. You should make t-shirts that say, I just want to do my crafts. Yes. Yes, I do. I miss my crafts. I miss making those vases. I need to sell some of those so I have room. I was getting into the farmer's market, but now that I have a business license, I can do some of the other farmer's markets that are in El Paso. So, because it's restricted to people who actually have a business. So now I have that option, and I'm so happy. Can't wait to get back. Well, here's the thing, Michelle, when you're on a breathing treatment, okay, there is some chance of it causing some bronchoconstriction at first, and then the airways will open up. It's the reaction to the medication. Zopanex tends to not cause that reaction as much, but the airways do open. You have to give it time to have its peak effect instead of the immediate response. That's why we're supposed to, like when you're in the emergency room, after we give you the treatment, then we come back and evaluate you after 20 to 30 minutes. And if you need another one, then we give you another one. We can give you up to 3 in an hour in the ER. Sometimes we put you on continuous albuterol, but sometimes it can cause more bronchoconstriction at first, and then they will open up. So you can't do just immediate. You have to wait and see. We have to wait for the peak effect of albuterol. Hey, Sarah. Another protest. I hope it's a peaceful one. If people protest peacefully and try to spread their message without screaming hate and spewing obscenities and trying to divide people along party lines, well, then that's a productive, like the nurses who stood outside with silent protest and held the names up of their 19 coworkers that died from COVID. That makes a pretty powerful statement. Yes. Screaming at people does not. Toting guns around the Capitol makes you look fucking crazy. Sorry. Nobody wants to work with you. They're scared of you. And bullying and intimidation tactics to get your way is not... No, we're not in North Korea. What do you think about the thoughts that this was around? I do believe it was. I do believe it was. There was a lot of people sick in January with unexplained reasons, like deathly ill. I do believe it came over earlier. I do believe it probably came over in November, December time. And this takes so long to set in before we start seeing symptoms that we started to notice the symptoms when people started to get really sick. Yeah, I totally believe it. And that's what we're trying to figure out is exactly when. And that's why we need contact tracing and antibody testing to figure out when people were deathly ill, do they have the antibodies, when were your symptoms, and where the hell were you at, that we can figure out that you got it, or where somebody else was that you may have contracted it from. We are not trying to hunt you down and put 5G in your home and hack your brain. 5G's been around for several years. Just ask the gamers. Look at your home Wi-Fi. There's a 5G line. Mayo Clinic rocks. And they're the ones doing the convalescent plasma study. Mayo Clinic is awesome. They are a great resource for anything and any questions, and they have very, very easy to understand information. So does the Cleveland Clinic. Both of these places. Yes. Those are great resources. Yeah, that's what I thought about the Embryl. I want to buy vases. Yeah, I can't mail them out. I'm at home. I cannot wait to get back to El Paso. I mean, I do want to help out here. I do. The money is always beneficial. And the reason I came out here was to learn about this, because I knew that this was going to be something that was going to be respiratory forever. But it also was to earn the money to do what I want to do with my causes. And yeah, I'm putting my ass at risk, but it's crisis pay, and that's what we're all doing. I paying up my bills. I am doing this so I can help others. That's what it's for. So yes. Oh yes, I do crafts, and I do crafts to, I only take the money back to that I had to put into the cost of the crafts, which is very cheap, by the way. I have everything. My candles are very cheap to make. Unless I get something really cool from an antique store that I make a candle out of, then the cost is a little higher. But overall, it cost me like $2 to create something. Obviously, shirts are going to be more expensive because it's going to be the cost of the shirt. But if I can buy them in bulk, then obviously. And then I can even, if you have a favorite shirt that you want something on, you can mail it to me and I'll be happy to stick it on there. Some people have favorite material that they want and they just don't have images. I mean, or if you want to send it to me, I will put the image on it. I mean, you can order it. There's lots of options. I am more than willing to work with people. I just want to promote awareness. I want people to have a place to come that's safe. And we have fun with the trolls. Yes, we do, because they're just entertaining sometimes. But overall, it's educational. It's interactive for people, and they can ask real-time questions because we don't have anywhere to do that. And I get a lot of other healthcare professionals on here. Donna is a charge nurse, and she was one of my favorite people at Mercy Health. And she's a great resource. Her and I used to spend lots of time talking at the Lax Cancer Center, which was one of my favorite places to work because that meditative atmosphere on the top floor. Oh, man, I did a lot of studying for my bachelor's degree up there. So yes, when I get home, I will definitely be promoting the store so I can get rid of stuff and make more. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I need room. I have like epoxy, everything. Oh my God, my house is just like, my landlord loves it though. She comes in and she's just like, I love what you did with the place. I love it though. It's a very comfortable atmosphere, and El Paso is very tolerant of, especially the art community. They're very, very, I'm going to tell you something. Like in Metro Detroit, when you go down there, everything is spray painted and tagged. It's spray painted and tagged here. When you go through like the hood in El Paso and the not so looking like it's, and really that's not really a hood compared to what we're used to seeing. They have beautiful artwork like under the overpasses, on the sides of buildings. I mean, it's gorgeous. And you know what? Not a damn bit of it is spray painted over with somebody's bullshit tags. They respect their... You throw a cigarette on the ground and somebody's going to blow their freaking horn at you and be like, hey, don't mess with Texas, because that's what it actually means, is don't litter. It's not don't mess with Texas because we tote guns. It's don't mess with Texas. Don't litter. Don't trash the place. And they really live by that. And it's freaking awesome over there. And I am not leaving that goddamn border town. My ex-husband can just deal with that. I'm staying there. He brought me here and I like it. And I'm staying. It's warm. And they're awesome with the art community. Yeah, histamine response. Yep, Zyrtec and Allegra won't work. They're histamine blockers. Correct. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the help. Albuterol in an inhaler, it helps to relieve bronchospasm. There's smooth muscle on the outside, like say this is your airway, and there's a smooth band of muscle that wraps around it. So when you have an asthmatic and allergic response, it clamps down. And that's why you have the wheezing, because the air is trapped. Asthma is an obstruction of the airway, so it can't get out. So you're trying to force all this back pressure of air through these tiny narrowed airways. So when you use the albuterol, it relieves the bronchospasm, so it loosens up that muscle on the outside of the airway, and it opens it up. So if you're not having a response like that, albuterol isn't going to magically open your freaking lungs. I just want to slap these doctors in the head with their stupid albuterol orders for stupid things that don't have anything to do with that. So it just relieves that restriction on the airway, and it allows the air to completely flow out, because what you see with COPD and what you also see with asthma is hyperinflated lungs, which means there's a bunch of air trapped down here. that can't get out. COPD is long-term and permanent. Asthma is usually an acute or just like right now situation that can be relieved once the airways open. COPD, it's permanent because the diaphragm flattens just over time with that hyperinflation of all that air that is stuck down there that can't get out. By fall, I believe, yeah, I really think that this came over from traveling. It just didn't spread until cold and flu season was in full effect. Because in New York, you know, we usually see an uptick of flu diagnoses during that time of year that it was happening. And that's kind of like our prime time in Michigan as well. It gets pretty freaking crazy. And we're all working a lot of overtime. So with everybody being closed indoors also, it spread easier. And then the military did the absolutely wrong thing. But we were going off the information from China that we had at the time, and they brought all the soldiers who were home on leave and stuff, like out here in New York. There was a lot of soldiers brought back to Fort Bliss and El Paso, and as soon as that happened, man, guess what? Soldiers are quarantined. There's positive cases all over base. They should have left them where they were to shelter in place and just dealt with it from here. But we didn't think this was going to happen the way it did, and it's not Trump's fault. It's China's for giving us misinformation. And I posted the memo on my Journey of a Combat Veteran Spouse page, and you can go look at it there. I don't want to get into politics here. John, I'm going to have Donna look into that. Donna, can you look into the Embro? We are using immunologics, John, because we want to suppress the immune response. So it's not strengthening your immune system, but with COVID, it's an inflammatory response of your immune system, so we do want to suppress that. Do you understand? We're trying to reduce the immune reaction because that's what's causing the inflammatory response of the body. I know it's kind of hard to understand, and maybe if Donna, if you want to try to elaborate a little bit in the comments, when we get the virus, our body, it goes into overdrive. It goes into hyper overdrive in the immune system, and it's creating all these inflammatory markers and that cytokine storm. We don't want that. We want that to tone down, and we don't want that response because that's what's causing the inflammation. Just like it causes the psoriasis when your body is kind of overacting with the skin regeneration. We don't want that. So we don't want that with COVID either. I hope that kind of clarifies it. Yeah, there was a lot of family. Hey, Trudy, there was a lot of families that were sick in December and early January. Hack your brain. Oh, damn. Coughing so hard, dislocating ribs. People have also punctured their lungs doing that. That's not fun. And yeah, the flu doesn't usually cause that. I mean, it does cause inflammation, but usually not to this severity. Only in certain people. And remember, when they give you the flu numbers, they're for a longer period of months, not 2. Do the math. Please do the math. I had a friend who works as a respiratory therapist whose son was really sick, and he was getting weird sores on his fingertips, and she took pictures of it at the time. And now she's thinking he had COVID, and I hope she's getting him tested. I have not even been able to follow up on her page, but every sign and symptom was there, and I'm hoping he doesn't have some kind of resurgence like these kids are having out here, because he was really sick. I remember her posting the pictures, and it broke my heart, because he was just tiny little guy, adorable. Yeah, that whistleblower was sick then, yep. Oh, he's so sweet. I have them all packed in the giant, like I order all my cat stuff from Chewy, and they have great boxes, and I have them all neatly packed up in there with all the bubble wrap that I hoard from everything else that I order. So I can throw them in the car and easily travel back and forth to the art shows. So they're all packed up and ready to go. You can do like a sub store for me. I am in New Jersey. I am currently on the front lines out here in Newark, New Jersey. When I got out here, I flew into LaGuardia, New York, it was just a 25-minute Uber ride over here. And that was through traffic lights, so it's really not that far away. I'm actually sitting right outside of Penn Station is attached to my hotel. I need to go over in there and check it out, but I don't know why I feel like weird going into new places. It's just... I've had sleep, Trudy. That's why I'm smiling and laughing. I won't be smiling and laughing at 7 a.m., though. Be drinking coffee. Yes, I am originally from the 313. I grew up in Detroit. Oh, man. Yeah, sick around Christmas like that. My patient, I did get to see him, Trudy. He was... he was being a warrior. He was giving the nurses a bunch of shit because he wouldn't stay in bed, and he's still a fall risk because he's weak. And he just didn't understand why we were strapping him to the bed for a little while. He wanted me to take it off. So I'll check back in on him in a few days if he's not discharged, because he is definitely walking out of that place. Best, like, Mother's Day ever. And I had told him he was extubated on my birthday, and he was my first case. And he was very happy, but also still very confused about why we wouldn't let him out of the bed and why he was getting 2-point restrained to it, because he wouldn't stay in. The nurses just couldn't take running in there anymore because they have to get all of their PPE on to run in there and do that, and it's just not feasible. So we had to tie him to the bed for a minute, and that kind of sucked. But he's doing great. He's doing really good. Heard of a sand spore in the lungs? No, I have not. I'm sure there's some. I mean, you can get any kind of spore in there, whether it be from sand, dirt, or anything, mold. If you inhale it, it's going in there. Let's see, I need to come visit West Texas is freaking awesome. We are 5,000 feet in the air, very close to the sun. There's not much water, but the shade is nice when you can find it, like on my balcony, watching the sunset every evening over Mexico. 2 hours away, I can go up to Ruidoso, and they have camping. That's my favorite place to go camp. It's nice and cool up in the mountains. They have water and snow. It's not that far away. I love going out to White Sands National Monument. That's my desert snow. I'm going to stick to my desert snow after this experience. Although I still want to go travel to Alaska. But in the winter when it's dark for 5 months and I can just see everything. I hate the sun. I have to, like, when I walk out of the elevator at work in the morning, it's like, oh my freaking God, where are my sunglasses? And even the tint that happens with these is not enough. I just like the night shift. I can see and function. So with COPD, is that why some people look pregnant? Yes, they get the air trapping. It's called air trapping, and we call it barrel chest instead of pregnant. But yeah, that's why they look pregnant. It's because all the trapped air. I'm just trying to read through everybody's comments. Travel for living. I came back from Puerto Rico. Had COVID symptoms on. It's very possible. I would get the antibody test. Go check Quest Diagnostics webpage and see how to do it, because Quest is wide. Quest has got more facilities than anybody I freaking know. Yeah, if it's an immunosuppressive and it keeps the body from overreacting, and yes, then that's a good thing. I don't want the body overreactive with COVID. I don't. That immune response is what we don't want to see right now, because that's what's causing the inflammation throughout the body. But we don't know what medications are actually working. So that's why your doctor's like, there's no reason to stop it. If anything, it might be beneficial. Yeah, the homeless, actually, I am pretty good friends with. They bum cigarettes, and I give them food. I talk to them like they're human beings. If they're doing irrational things, I make the same judgments that I would in the ER and just stay away. But that's one, I have a really big compassion for the homeless folks. Like every time Grubhub screws up my food and I think I'm not getting it and then I order more, the first thing I do is walk the extra meal downstairs and out the door over by Penn Station and give it away. So yeah, I don't stick my nose up at anybody. I've had a conversation with a guy who did heating and cooling named John this morning, or yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning. But yeah, I actually enjoy my conversations with those folks. I keep my distance if they're screaming at their old lady and walking in and treating them like crap, because they're just terrible people. But overall, I don't have any major problem with homeless because of my approach with people. That's how it works. I'm a very compassionate person. And I also hold my own, and I don't take any shit. So those two things combined make me a little stronger than most and less vulnerable, I guess, to say the word there. I was walking through Newark, like in a very, very bad part of town, a mile back and forth to work with wet shoes when I walked through the freaking water puddle when it was 30 degrees outside. And I just walk through it like I own it, and I don't get messed with, and I have crazy colored hair, and I'm a white girl from Detroit, and they're just like, you know what? No, she's not a target. And there's always going to be crime, but I don't become a victim. I don't put myself, and I don't carry myself in a victimizing way, I guess. You're welcome, John. My friend's dad is dying because of it. He was in Arizona. What part of Arizona? I mean, did he contract it in Arizona? I mean, there's a lot of dirt out there. I mean, anything can be freaking growing. Valley fever? Is that what you're talking about? The fungus? Because we do get a lot of strange funguses out that way because of what's growing. Yes, there are different lung issues that we see in certain parts of the country. Yeah, over 65% of all valley fever cases occur in AZ and 30% occur in California. Most other in Nevada, Utah, New Mexico. Yeah, it's, yes. We do see certain kinds of fungus and spores that grow in the dirt there. And we also see other kinds in other parts of the country. So I did start seeing some cases of certain spores and certain lung infections that I would never see in another part of the country. And I had to refresh my brain on those diseases. And my disease books are at home as well. Can't wait to get to my research stuff. But yes, that is entirely caused by spores in the dirt there. Heat, Trudy, I was in the video that I shared that was 1 million hours long from the doctor. Ways to boost the immune system is actually like taking a hot bath. I thought that boosting a fever would be a bad idea. But according to the doc, no, it's not. It's not such a bad idea at all, actually. So coccidiosis, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yes, it can really, yes, totally, unfortunately. I see a different type of those funguses, actually. I see a few different types down there. It is a fungus, unfortunately. Yeah, Miss Snow. You won't miss it after you've been here freezing your ass off for a few weeks. You're just like, desert is great. I will never complain about the freaking heat again because I really don't sweat down there because it's not that kind of heat. You're going to have a bunch of new neighbors. Y'all are welcome to El Paso. We are a very warm and welcoming community down there. We don't tolerate, speaking of, oh my God, some asshole, and I'm going to put that nicely, after we had our Walmart shootings and all that crap and that jerk face put all of his threats on Facebook and they found his manifesto, some punk ass mofo, I was reading in the 915 Can't Drive over the weekend, decided to post a bunch of like really large gun pictures and threaten people at Walmart again. Like he was going to open fire. They raided his home, and his ass is now in jail. So that was a really stupid thing to do, and the people of El Paso really didn't appreciate that. And, like, he was a total, like, gangsta wannabe. Like, he must have been watching too many Snoop Dogg videos from the 90s. And, things didn't work out too well for him because we take that shit seriously down in El Paso now because it affected every one of us very greatly, and I didn't find it funny. Matter of fact, I brought my El Paso Strong shirt with me that University Medical Center paid for all of us to have to commemorate the horrible freaking moment. And I rock that son of a gun here when I can. And we are El Paso Strong. And we will not put up with that crap because we are actually a very safe city. Being on the side of Juarez, you would figure all that violence would pour over to us. It does not. And we are very protective of our community down there, and that is one reason I love it so much. They are a big, happy family until they get behind the wheel of a car. I have some very interesting pictures to share during the stay-at-home orders, when people should have probably stayed at home instead of flipping their vehicles over in the parking lot of Walmart by driving into the light pole during the middle of the daytime. Yeah, that's how we drive. We're great until we get behind the car. But yeah, that was a little upsetting to see that somebody had enough freaking balls to do that. I love the homeless people. I really do. They all have a story. And when you talk to them and you understand and you have some compassion for what they're going through, it really gives you a different perspective on life. That's why I like to help people. I ain't scared. I ain't scared about nothing. Yeah, he got it in Arizona, now lives in Michigan. Yeah, he is dying. Yeah, it's not called a sand spore. It's a fungal spore. And it's from the dirt, which there's a lot of sand. So dirt in Phoenix and Arizona would probably be called sand. But it's a fungal spore. It's a fungus. It tends to resemble the flu. Causes. Yeah, it thrives in the arid desert soil. So arid desert soil would be sand. But the correct word would be soil, not sand, because that makes people think that it comes from any kind of sand. It is soil would be the correct word. And I do see, they're also endemic to New Mexico, Texas, and parts of Central and South America. I have seen patients in El Paso with that exact same condition, because I had to Google it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I first got here, that word came back from my disease book, and there are people out here with it. Soil is the right word. Yeah, I'm from Michigan. Cold didn't bother me until I moved my ass out to the desert, and now my thermostat's on 77 out here. In Michigan, it used to be 65 max in the winter, year-round, actually, in my house. And then I got a swamp cooler, and now I don't like frigid air conditioning anymore because I like that moisture and just the comfort of the swamp cooler. But those won't work out here. You're welcome, Trudy. Hello, out in LA. I know it's still early out there. Antibodies tested 100. Hopefully this freaking price comes down. Hopefully insurance companies cover it. Hopefully we have a way to give people the resources. That's kind of why I want to start the page and get income coming in so I can put money into nonprofit things to help fund stuff like that for people who really can't afford it. Because I like to give back. I don't like to take. I like to give more than I take from people. If I take anything from people, it's perspective and understanding so I can help the next person. I don't want to see somebody go without, if I have a way to network and bring people together to do that. It's not the delay in the comments, it's that I'm scrolling back through them so I can get to everybody. And I don't have insurance, pretty sure I had it in March. Headaches. I wonder if there is a way of acute viral syndrome in the flu. And unless they tested for the goddamn flu, Jennifer, they have no way of proving it. So they should have done a flu test. They just can't label things influenza. A virus, yeah. But back then, we didn't know about COVID. So contact your public health departments, guys, and see what they're saying. Because I would think that if we want to test the population to find out what the infection rate is of the population, that they'd be willing to go, hey, we'll give you the antibody test. So reach out to your public health departments and see. And let me hear some feedback about what they tell you. Yes, soil spore. Particular autoimmune disorders, but if you have one, will that make COVID worse? Celiac. I have not seen anybody with particular immune diseases show up, at least at my facility, that are any more susceptible. It is people with cardiovascular problems and who are overweight. That's what we are seeing because it's oxidative stress. If you're more susceptible to getting sick in general, then yeah, you could be more susceptible to getting sick with a virus. I mean, some people, their genetics just, their immune system sucks and they get sick all the time with everything. I must have a really strong immunity to a lot of shit because I'm hardly ever sick. If I'm irritated, it is my sinuses and allergies. I can't even tell you the last time I was really sick. I really can't. It probably involved a hangover many, many years ago because I think I've had a hangover since in the past 10 years more than I've been sick. And I don't even drink anymore. I haven't drank like heavily in many, many years. So I don't even like the feeling of alcohol anymore. So that's how long it's been. So I think some people just have a weakened immune system in general. So the best thing to do is eat healthy. And I know celiac makes it hard to eat certain things. So put in your body what you can. Lots of fresh fruits and veggies because they're full of antioxidants and very healthy things that your body needs to run and maintain its balance and have all these systems that it uses to fight all these viruses. So give it the fuel that it needs to do its job. We take that away. Yep, I'm going to be going to bed myself. I'm going to go downstairs and have a stressed cigarette, and hopefully when I get done with all this, I can quit smoking again for another year. But I stress smoke, I'm not going to lie to you. I do have to have some kind of freaking vice. Bad respiratory therapist, I know, but I take my Chantix, and it really, I don't smoke that much a day. I'm not standing outside chain smoking. But I do, and I've always enjoyed my cigarettes. I just enjoy a couple. Helps with mental stress. And then the rest I hand out to the homeless people. I don't hand them money, but I always hand them cigarettes. And I think I keep those more just so I can encourage conversation because I don't ever turn anybody away. But yeah, that's my vice. That is my one and only vice. Yeah, reach out to the health department and let me know what they have to say to you about that, especially if you have your emergency room papers. I'm very curious as to what they're going to tell people. Hey, Jose, I met. See, talking about giving people a chance. We met online, and him and I went camping up in Ruidoso, and I showed him a whole different way of backwoods life that's just meditative and beautiful. And I don't judge people. I don't judge people for their background, what's happened in their past. That's their past. What's going on now is their future. And him and I have become good friends. And hopefully he can teach me some better Spanish because I'm terrible at it. And I don't know if I'm saying the wrong things to people because they look at me funny up here. My Spanish is terrible. And I can get certain words out. But he's been a good friend and a companion when I needed one. Knee deep in sickness all the time. Yeah, I got the Darth Vader. I mean, I don't like how you refer to that because Z-Dog's always got the Vader doctor thing going on, and we all like Vader. Vader just tells it the way it is. He's like the dark side of Dr. Z. So I will be on, I'm working the next 2 days, so I'm probably going to come home and just freaking die because day shift just drains me. I hate it, but I need to be where they need me, and that's what I came out here to do. So I'm not going to get on Facebook and just bitch about it and tell them how terrible it is. I'm going to be like, hey, thank you for allowing me to come help out at your facility and help your people here because that's what I came here to do. And I know what my job is when I came here, and I'm not going to sit on Facebook and complain about that. I will tell you about the great days, and I will tell you about the stuff that hurts. But to be able to have my patient, my first one, taken off the ventilator, and probably going to be walking out the door here soon, and then to start my LLC on Mother's Day, and to be able to propel this forward with all the love and support from everybody, I'm like ecstatic. I cannot wait to see where this goes. And for the people, unity, positivity, faith, and just have some damn faith. And I can't wait to start the nonprofit. I just want to get the name registered so I can share with you the story because it's pretty fucking amazing. A few people know it, but not many. And I'm trying to just keep it on the down low because I don't need my ex-husband ruining everything because that's the kind of shit that he would do. So once I have that, the only person who knows, I've told a couple people, and they really like the idea, and I've gotten the approval for the name from the person who means the most. And I will tell that story as soon as I get that nonprofit registered. that's going to be associated with the PTSD awareness. So I'm really proud of that, and I cannot wait to tell that story because, man, it's an important one. It really is. Positive mindset, yes. See, yes. Meditate, learn to meditate, please. It will really help to lower blood pressure, tensions, and anxieties and fears right now about this virus. I don't want you all scared. I want you educated and armed against COVID. And then you know what you need to do to protect yourself. And then we don't need to be scared. And then we can look at people and try to educate the stupidity, but some people don't want to be educated. And they, it's always the ones calling us sheeple. They're the actual sheeple because they don't want to hear anything else. They got to follow a leader. It doesn't matter who the leader is. They just have to follow somebody instead of using their independent mind, which is what we were all created independently, not collectively. We're not all cut from the same cloth. That's why everybody specializes in something different. And working together as a team is great. It really is teamwork. You can't do it all. That's why, I'll ask for help, definitely. Technology, help. Please help me. I'm ignorant. All right, you guys, you have a good night, and I will be looking forward to your messages. I know I talk to a lot of you individually with the messages throughout the day when I can respond, and I appreciate you giving me the time to respond and sending me all the wonderful things that you send me because they are hilarious and loving, and I absolutely love it. So you all get some sleep too, and hopefully, the only thing that's nice about working day shift is I get to round with all the doctors, and I get to hear the updates on the cases, and I get to hear the fellow talk, so I get more education because I like to absorb that kind of stuff. So you all have a great night. Thanks for listening.